everyone, welcome to Sweet Pea Stitch Inspirations. My name is Sydney and today we are going to learn how to do the knit stitch Tunisian crochet style. This is a wonderful stitch for beginners who are dipping their toes into Tunisian. It is more of a basic stitch. So what you are going to need is your yarn, of course, and also a Tunisian Afghan or a crochet hook, whichever you prefer to use. And you can go ahead and chain up how many ever chains that you prefer. I will probably be doing about 10 stitches, and we can go ahead and get started. If you are new to Tunisian and crocheting, to do a chain, you'll make a slip knot, and how you make a slip knot, or how I make mine, there's different ways that you can do a slip knot. I wrap my yarn over my two front fingers and then cross my yarn over and tuck it through that loop underneath, and then just pull that loop up. Again, there's different ways that you can do a slip knot, just however you prefer. And if you do not know how to do a chain stitch, we are going to put that stitch on our hook, and we are going to yarn over clockwise and then grab that loop and pull it through the loop that is on your hook. So again, go ahead and yarn over clockwise, grab that string of yarn and pull it through that loop. So that is how you do a chain stitch. Go ahead and do how many ever chains that you prefer. Again, I will probably be doing 10. So once I have my chains completed, I will meet you for the to work into these chains. So I have my 10 chains. Now I am going to be using some terminology, a forward pass, which is going from right to left, and then a return pass, which is left to right. And for Tunisian, you do not have to turn your work. You are working from right to left and then left to right, so you don't have to turn your work at all. You will continue staying on the right side of our work. So we are going to, in order to get the pattern started, we are going to do a base row. So the loop that is already on your hook, that is going to count as one stitch. Now we are going to go into the next stitch. You can either go through that top loop, you can turn your chain to the back side and go into that middle chain, whichever how you prefer, that is up to you. There is no right or wrong way there. It's just however you prefer your work to look. But go ahead and go into that stitch, and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, making sure that you do not pull this loop through. We are going to keep all loops on our hook. So go ahead and go into the next loop and pull up another loop, and that is what we are going to continue doing until we have reached the end of this row. And once we reach the end of this row, we are going to do our return pass, and I will show you guys how to do a return pass, which is very, very simple, and it's for the most part the same for most stitches. At least for most basic stitches it is. So I have reached the end of my row. So to do a return pass, to start off, we are going to do a chain one. And how we do a chain one is we are going to yarn over, and we are just going to pull a loop through that very first stitch. And that is going to be our chain one. Now for the rest of the row, we are going to yarn over, and then we are going to pull through 2 loops. Again, we are going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So continue working through the 2 loops until you have reached the end of your row, and then we can go ahead and get started on the knit stitch. I'm pulling through my last 2. So again, this loop that is already on our hook, that is going to count as a chain 1. So we are not going to go into this first stitch. We are going to go to the next stitch, and you see a bar that is in front, and then you see an opening and then a bar in the back. We are going to go in between those 2 bars, insert your hook, yarn over, and then go ahead and draw up a loop. So that is how we are doing the knit stitch. Typically with a simple crochet stitch, you just go through that first bar, but with a knit stitch, we are going in between those 2 bars and drawing up a loop. So again, you see the first bar, the opening, and then the back bar. We are going in between those 2 bars into that opening and drawing up a loop. Very, very simple. Again, this is a basic Tunisian crochet stitch, so continue working until you have reached the end. Once you have reached the end, I will show you what you need to do, which is nothing too hard. And I am quickly approaching the end. So once you have made it to that very last stitch, we are going to go through both of those loops at the end and go ahead and draw up a loop. So that is the forward pass for the knit stitch. And again, for the return pass, we are going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop. That is going to be our chain 1. And now for the rest of our row, we are going to yarn over and go ahead and pull through 2 loops. Again, yarn over and pull through 2 until you have reached the end of this row. Again, this is a return pass, which is working from left to right, and a forward pass is our right to left. And I am coming to the end of this row. Again, I will show you how to do the knit stitch one more time. So again, that loop that is already on our hook is our chain 1, and that counts as a stitch. So you do not have to go into this first stitch. We will go into the second stitch, go in between those 2 bars, go ahead and draw up a loop. For Tunisian style crocheting, for the forward pass, we are not going to pull through these loops on the hook. We are just drawing up loops. These will stay on our hook until we have gone to our return pass. So again, go ahead and go through those 2 bars and draw up a loop. And again, once you have gotten to the end of the row, you will go through those 2 loops and draw up a loop. You don't want to go through just 1 loop because you will end up having a gap in your work. And again, we will just continue doing the return pass. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I will show you how your work should be working up. You will continue working that pattern for however long that you prefer. And to bind off real quick, some patterns will suggest that you need to work in pattern form. So to do the knit stitch bind off, we are going to continue going into that opening between the 2 bars, draw up a loop, And if you are familiar with crochet terms, we are to bind off, we are going to pretty much do a slip stitch. So go ahead and slip that stitch through that very first loop to where you only have one loop on your hook now. And you will continue doing that for the rest of the row until you have completely binded off your project. So that is really it as far as the Tunisian crochet knit stitch. Very, very simple, a very basic Tunisian crochet stitch. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment, or subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will see you guys next time.